One, who drives an electric car here? Raise your hand. Like high, I don't know if you're low energy, get a cup of coffee, come on, reach for the sky. Okay, so maybe about 10%, maybe 5%, 5 to 10% of the room. Who drives a plug-in hybrid? Okay, one person, thank you for your service. Okay, let me ask a more bold question. Who believes in electrification?
The U.S. is experiencing an incredible amount of increase in power demand. There's a lot of strain on the grid. AI is pushing data center growth. It's also forcing additional electricity demand with respect to EV charging stations. There's demographic growth. The grid itself is under strain. And so we're going to start talking about all the things that have to occur in the future of electrification.
The thing that I want to gravitate towards, especially when it comes to electrification, it's capital intensive, but it takes just sheer hard work, right? I mean, don't forget, in order to electrify, you're going to have to be innovative. You're going to have to, take a little more risk, and you're going to have to be open with new ideas and new concepts. I so often preach that this moment, the fifth industrial revolution, which is where electrification sits, is really centered around the harmony between purpose and technology, but also it's more about business innovation than product innovation. All the things that we have in front of us to drive electrification are at our disposal. I mean, Bryce just mentioned it earlier, some of the work that ICE Energy is doing, they have a 20-year technology. I mean, EV Passport, we didn't create EV charging. We're not creating induction charging. What we did is we put together certain solutions and drove software as a differentiating factor. And all the tools are at our disposal. And I think when we look at the investment in this space in the electrification process, we have to be able to create better harmony and understand how impact and processes need to be disrupted and changed and think more methodically about them.
Thinking about the barriers to deploying a technology like, for climate reasons, like climate tech, you may think, oh, the issues are operations. We have 100 million operating hours on our units. You might think it's economics. We qualified for the ITC. We spent a lot of time in Washington, and because we're made in the United States, we qualify for a 40% ITC, and we have brought down our paybacks inside of 4 years. Generally, our customers experience over a 20% IRR on their investment in our technology. The actual thing that we got wrong in our underwriting forecast was how much it was going to cost to insure the technology, where we had to explain to the risk and insurance market, we actually have and own a unit on 100 rooftops in Southern California, and then thinking about what happens when there's an earthquake or something that, that's, to us, it's actually a diversified pool of an asset that is very resilient and important for the utility, and over time, we've brought the insurers along for the journey, and they now understand the value and diversification of what this does for the grid and why it's actually solving a huge risk factor for the utilities.
The average cost per the NAIC is over $500 more per unit, per vehicle, per year. So if you're a fleet that has 1,000 trucks, that starts to add up just to have electrical vehicles. But the long-term potential, I think, is really going to drive insurance costs down significantly.